Hey guys, this is Michelle from Virtual Hand Care, and in this video I'm going to show you the best finger splint to get your finger straight. So this video is more of a product review of this little splint here. This has a couple of different names, a spring extension splint, an LMB, a Capner splint. There's lots of different names for this little splint. I'm gonna call it spring extension or LMB throughout this process just because that's what I'm used to calling it. Now I'm gonna break this down into why I like this splint and also some pros as far as for you of what you may be looking for in a finger extension splint, but I'm also going to look at a couple of cons as far as maybe some not so desirable things about this little splint. So let's get started. First, you may find yourself needing a finger extension splint like this because you have a hard time getting your finger straight. So maybe you've tried all the exercises in the world and you just can't get it straight. And maybe the clock is ticking and it's been quite a while. You've been noticing your finger not straightening, or it's been a while since you've had an injury and it still is just not responding. Well, sometimes a spring-loaded splint like this LMB can really be what your finger might need. One of the pros for this little splint is ease of use. There are so many different types of finger splints out there, like this one here, which some of them look like torture devices. This one, not as much. So this one is very easy to put on. To put this on, all you do is apply a little bit of a pinch and you can actually slide it on your finger. So even if your finger is bent, then you can pinch it and place it around and get it on the finger. Unlike some of those other splints that are out there where you have to have your finger pretty straight just to even get your finger in those splints. Also, to go with ease of use is that it's really portable. You can really take this anywhere. So you even just put it in your pocket and take it with you, because usually when you have these kind of splints, it's recommended for you to wear them a couple of times a day. So you can simply just put it in your pocket and take it to go. Now, comfort is another reason why I really like this splint, because it has this styrofoam, which is very comfortable. It's got quite a bit of padding, especially over the PIP joint, which can be very tender when it's bent for long lengths of time. You might be bumping your finger on stuff, or maybe you've tried other types of splints and it is just really rubbing over your joint. I really like this LMB because of that extra thick padding. It really does not seem to bother the PIP joint as much. So I really think that comfort is one of the bonuses of this splint. So another pro is adjustability. There is a little bit of a way that you can adjust this little splint. Even on the instructions, it recommends that if you need more straightening, so say you wear this splint for a little while and you feel like it's not really doing much for you and you want more extension, you can actually work on trying to bring these wires up, and therefore it will make this straighter. And so then when you get your finger in there, you'll feel like it's pushing your finger straighter. Now, if you feel the opposite, where maybe when you get this, it's pushing your finger too straight, then you can work on bending. And when I say that, I would be careful with it, because that's probably a little bit of a con, is it feels like it's a little fragile, but you can bend it and that actually will reduce the angle here, which will put less tension on your PIP joint. Now, another little suggestion that I like to actually try is to take these little wires and I like to bend them and take just a little plier and just kind of bend them up if I'm looking to get more extension, or bend them down if I'm looking to have less extension. Now, I would just be, again, I would be cautious with any kind of adjustments that you're making just because you don't want to break it. Now let's talk about cost. So cost can be actually a pro or a con for this. I like to put it in the pro because these are relatively inexpensive. They range from about $25 to $35. That is actually pretty inexpensive compared to some of the other finger extension splints that are similar to this or in the same category. Those can be like $60 all the way up to $100. So to me, I feel like it actually is pretty cost effective, especially if you only need this for one finger. One of the other pros is the type of stretch that it provides. And what do I mean by that? I like this because it is actually what's called spring loaded. So that provides more of a dynamic stretch to your tissue. Basically, that means that there's always going to be a constant load or constant tension from the spring on your finger. As your tissue slowly stretches out, the spring is going to continue to push your finger straight. Unlike some of the other splints where maybe you have to turn a knob every time, those are more of a static type of stretch. Now keep in mind, it is important to make sure that you do have a therapist evaluate your joint so you know whether you need more of a dynamic type of stretch or a static type of stretch, because they're going to want to evaluate that joint to see which one that it needs. Now, my last pro is that this comes in many sizes. So that is very important because you don't want a one size fits all, because not everybody's fingers are the same size and not every finger is the same size. Like for this one here, this is a small size for me and I have this on my index finger. Now, perhaps a male that has larger hands, he might need a larger size, like a medium or a large. Now, depending on the brand, they either come in like small, medium, large, extra large, or it might come in a double A, an A, a B, a C. The sizes will vary depending on the manufacturer. And I will put a link below of where you can find these splints. Now let's get into some of the cons of these splints, because there's gonna be some disadvantages. Even though I said that it's an advantage to have multiple sizes, that can kind of become expensive. So we're getting a little bit more into cost again when it comes to a con, because if you have multiple fingers that are bent, then, well, you're gonna need to get multiple sizes and therefore that's going to cost you more. If you do need it for a few fingers, then that can be a little bit more expensive for you, and you got a couple of more of these little things that you have to keep track of. Now, another con to this is that really this is for somebody that is lacking about, 30 to 35 degrees of extension. If you're down into like 60 to 90 degree contractures, this is not going to be for you. This will not benefit you. This will not fit you correctly, and it will only cause you more aggravation, and it will only irritate your joint more. It's really more for the person that lack that last 0 to 30 to 35 degrees. Anything greater than that, you would need some other type of splint, or you would need to have a therapist evaluate you and potentially custom make a serial cast type of splint for your finger. Now, I hope you found this product review helpful. If you would like to see an instructional video of actually how to use it, how to put it on, and a little more information and details, do leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll make sure that I get an instructional video on how to use this finger extension splint. Now, if you did find this video helpful though, please do give it a like, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And don't forget, I will also put a link of where you can find these little splints below. Thanks for watching.